Peepee! Hey, Peepee! You get little bee! Welcome to the 9 Lives podcast. I'm Crazy Avey, aka Anne-Marie Avey. And today, we get into some cat stuff, obviously. First of all, what I really want to talk to you about is this week, last week. This is the beginning of the week. Shit. Last week, recorded a new video that's coming out this week. And it's going to be a doozy because let me just tell you this. I went topless on a beach for the cat cult. Yes, thank you. Let me just... Oh, who's clapping? I don't know. Thank you so much. Woo! Thank you, Austin. Yeah! Pipe down. Austin, you stay back there. No, just kidding. No, but we got up. I was like, we have to do this. It's a music video parody that's coming out. And I don't want to give too much away, but I say this. We got up for the sunrise for me to be out there topless in the waves, looking weird, not necessarily sexy, but very strange. And this woman, there are joggers walking by the way. They're joggers walking by. Basically, they slowed down. They were like, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on here? And then they were kind of looking at me. Everyone's dog was barking at me because they're like, what is this human being lying on the beach? Because I'm dressed really weird. You'll have to wait. And this woman walks by. And she's like, I just got to say, you're so brave. And I was like, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. I am brave. I am a brave human being topless on the beach at 5:30 in the morning. I don't fight the wars in Afghanistan. I fight the nipple wars on the beach right here in California. That's what I do. Thank you so much. Thank God my parents are dead, right? Just kidding. Sorry, that might get a little dark for some people, but I feel like people whose parents have died, you sometimes have to get into that dark sense a little bit because you can laugh about it. Because what else are you going to do? Sit around forever and cry about it at appropriate times, yes, but you also have to laugh about it. You got to get into those dark spaces and realize that you can laugh again. And I know people who have parents like that, they kind of get it. You kind of get it. That's one of my favorite things to do is to talk about my parents and what they used to do and how they used to act. And it's fun for me. It's fun to still make fun of my parents, right? That doesn't ever go away when they die, by the way. You're going to constantly make fun of your parents. My mom, she'd always say cool really weird. I'd be like, yeah, mom, I, got this job or whatever. And she'd be like, that's so cool. She thought she was being cool by saying cool. And I was like, moms, don't say cool like that. She'd stick out her tongue. That's really cool. That's cool. I was like, stop it. So it's just things like that. You know what I mean? I'm like, ugh, you're not being cool, mom, by saying cool like that. I don't know what's going on. But, she was from the 60s and every once in a while she'd be like, that's pretty groovy that you did. And I was like, nope. Cut it down. Not helping. But anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, so I was on the beach, topless. I was in the bed. It's going to be a good video. It's going to be, it's going to be an interesting video. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I hope it turns out really well. But all I know is really fun to shoot. And I do it for you guys. I do it for you. Papa Puff's doing really well. He was all over me a second ago, and then suddenly the camera turned on, and he's under the bed. Pee-pee. He's been pretty well. I'm trying not to do the laser as much because he just rubs and loves all over me, and he'll look at me in the eye and he'll meow, and then he like looks down at the ground like he's trying to find the laser, and then like looks at me like he's trying to communicate laser to me. You know what I mean? So he's like meow, and then he's looking down the ground and then looks at me like, do you get it? I'm like, damn it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. You are not turning into a human being, okay? Like, you're still a cat. But the thing is like cat communication is very real. It's very real, which is what I addressed in my last video on Crazy Avey Line. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. What really makes you a cat lady? And one of those things is like you have conversations with your cat and they speak to you and you fucking know what they're talking about. Oh, God. Hi, Pee-Pee. He knew. He's come right back. Come here, Pee-Pee. Come on up. Papa, why don't you come up here for the people so they can know that, so you can just reinforce what I'm talking about. Like, you know what I'm talking about and want to come up here. Hold on. Let's see if he does it on his own. Austin, bay back. Austin was about to put him up here for me, which was very nice. Now you're distracting him. God damn it. Austin, stay back. No, just kidding. Pee-Pee. And he's distracted now. God damn it. We were having a conversation and then you interrupted us. He's like a 2-year-old. He is like a 2-year-old though. You know, where you're like be looking at each other and then something shiny happens over there and then he goes over there. But with us, the something shiny is usually a moth. So that's what's going on. By the way, I just have to show you this right now for the people. I still have my pumpkin from Halloween 2017. #PumpkinGate. I forget, I named this pumpkin, but I can't remember. But I want to name this pumpkin Pap because of my other video the other day when I was on edibles trying to make a cat grill and I couldn't spell Papa Puff. It just turned out Pap. I feel like this is what pumpkin is. This used to be pure white. It's now kind of a yellowish. Still, it's a little soft, but it's not leaking, and it's lasted since October 2017. I'm just gonna try to bring this little baby into the new Halloween year, and then maybe I'll carve it then. Who knows? That'll be a video. I'll get some edibles and I'll carve my 2017 pumpkin for once. That'd be pretty fun. Probably stink. Is my guess. But yeah, one thing that I couldn't wait to talk to you guys about though is something happened at Costco. Now, first of all, if you're like, where is this going? I love Costco. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should. I do like Costco Insta stories all the time. Costco is #1 bae. I love the samples. I love the deals. I go there all the time. I like to buy in bulk. I don't like to go shopping every couple days. I have to like get stocked up. Like I like a good stock up so I don't have to go fucking places all the time. Like it's one of my pet peeves, right? Well, there was an incident at Costco and it gotten in the news. And it says, let me read this to you. It says 2 senior citizens got into a fist fight at a South Carolina Costco over free samples. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, they did. Let me read. Now let me just read it. Okay. Because first of all, I was very intrigued. Second of all, I'm like, senior citizens. Yes, this is what they live for. Going to Costco, like I can't wait to be a senior citizen. I always say that. I'm like, man, I can't wait to be a grandma, right? I don't necessarily want to be like, I can't wait. It's not like I can't wait to be a mom. It's like, oh, I can't wait till I just like have grandchildren. Like that's what I wait for because then you can like relax and let them do the main parenting. And then you go on like little trips to Costco with the fam. Do you guys need something in the swimming section? Should we get like one of those little boards? Should we do it? I think we should. Like, I can't wait till that part, right? So let me just read you this story because it was so funny to me. It says, it went down recently in the free samples line at a Greenville, South Carolina Costco where 2 senior citizens got into a scuffle. We all love free food, but is it ever that serious? Yeah, bitch. It's serious. I've always been pretty serious about my samples. By the way, the one here in Venice, one time was like flipping flapjacks. They had like a hot skillet. Like, that's how serious the samples are at this Venice. But it's only on certain days. Like, you can't, it's not like Monday or whatever. It's like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But they're flipping flapjacks for you to sample. I mean, God, I'm getting wet just thinking about it right now. Okay, well, apparently it has that serious for two men in their 70s, and it all started because one of them cut the other in line for free cheese. First of all, yes, cheese is life. Get out of here if you're like, that's one of the reasons I have a really hard time going 100% vegan is because of the cheese alone. It's so good. I found a few. There's diet cheese, which is actually really good, but I only like two of their cheeses. I only like the shredded cheddar and the shredded mozzarella, but it is a vegan cheese and it's pretty good. Like, it's good melted. Like, I put it on like nachos or something. Like, it actually has a very good substance. And Daiya, it's spelled D-A-I-Y-A in case you're wondering. But not all cheese is like that, man. Like, you have to kind of fucking give and take a few cheeses to find something really good. Because it's like a lab. It's a science lab trying to recreate cheese out of nuts. I'm sorry. Like, it's going to take some experimenting for you to find the right one for you. But Daiya has always been really good. I really like that one in case you're interested. So it says, yeah, free cheese, in line for the free cheese. A 70-year-old man said he was in line when a 72-year-old man just hopped in front of him to snag some cheese and walked off. Still salty about being cut in front of. The 70-year-old man made a slick comment to the slightly older gentleman when they met up again in a line for free cheeseburger samples. Again, a free cheeseburger sample. Costco samples have stepped up their game. Except this one time I did go into a Costco and they were giving samples of OJ. And I was like, no one needs your fucking sample of OJ, Costco. What's going on? Who dropped the ball on that one? Oh, God, what is this, OJ? What's this OJ mixed with? Just, it's 100% OJ? I was like, get out of here. Like, I think they just maybe needed to wash something down with all the other stuff. Like, they needed to, like, have something on hand for people to be able to quench their thirst or, like, be able to cleanse their palate so they could go on to the next one. But still, people know what OJ tastes like. No one is going to be shocked that this is a really good OJ. No one knows. You don't go, you know what, no one has ever had the conversation, you know, I've had bad OJ before. Like, if you taste this OJ, it's not that good. People just kind of need a glass of OJ. Like, no one's like in here trying to get the best OJ. No one really fucking cares. Okay. So then he made this remark, right? He made this remark at the line for free cheeseburger samples. That's when police say things got physical and the alleged line cutter smacked the other man on the right side of his head, causing his glasses to get knocked off. The woman who was working the cheeseburger sample stand confirmed the fight to police and said the smack sounded very loud. Both men took off before police got there, but cops were able to track down the 72-year-old gentleman who admitted the altercation. First of all, I just want to go on record saying I love old people. I love talking to old people. I like it when I like seeing old people get angry because for some reason it seems weird. It seems like unnatural. Like, why are you're old? Yeah, they both like get out of here. Scrap, we gotta go. Get the cheeseburger sample. We gotta get out of here, Martha. Martha's like in the flower section being like, what, Bill? What do you mean? Drop the flowers. We gotta walk quickly, kind of. Track him down. Have you seen this old Brinkley man? Yeah, there's like everyone, if you're old, you all look the same. You all turn into prunes.
The guy's sweating a lot.
Yeah.
Walking away so fast.
It was just like, I love when old people get upset. It's funny. Like, it can be kind of weird, but like, it's funny because you're old and you're no longer really threatening because you're going to break a hip. You know, like there's something about, like, it doesn't mean, and you can see like a healthy old man, like an old man who's like got things and like whatever, like you can kind of distinguish that. But usually, like, especially if it's in South Carolina, I'm guessing the health of these gentlemen isn't at their tip top, right? So like when suddenly there's like these altercations, it's like, what are you gonna do? What are you really gonna do? You're gonna die. If you engage further, you will hobble over, have a stroke, or just like break something. And then the paramedics will be called. And then you're in the hospital for weeks because it takes a lot longer for you to heal. So this is why you try to get your shit in check before you get old. This is why you try to like understand your emotions now, so it doesn't affect you later when you're helpless and now you're just pissed off and you're old and you can't go anywhere. This is why you deal with it now. For your own family, for yourself, for your future relationship. This is why you deal with the shit now. So you don't become a fucking 72-year-old man smacking someone in the face over cheeseburger samples. You got to do this shit now. How do you do that? Good question. Hey, Pee-Pee. Look, Papa came right up at that time. First of all, you get a cat. That's the first thing. They help you calm down. It's been scientifically proven. Something about their purr sends off a calming vibration, just like when you put like a baby in the car or whatever, right? And they're like driving around, they can sleep better. Like something about the purr and like also the you petting them and having an animal is great in general, but something specifically about a cat and the purr is like so soothing, like and it's very healing. Look at this little boy. Mm. And like cats don't really, like when you're sad, you know, when you're sad, dogs get sad. But when you're sad, cats don't really get sad. They just like go, oh, you look more comfortable now. Like they don't really, they're just there to take it away or like to calm you down. And then like for them, it like helps them out. Is my theory, by the way. But the theory about the purr and about them reducing stress and strokes and all that kind of stuff, that's real. Look it up. Look it up. So that's the first thing. That man, I look at that man and I'm like, wow, you need a cat. You need to sit down and just pet a cat for a while and really take it in. God, can you imagine? Oh, I can't wait to be a parent. You know what, guys? You guys need to sit down and pet a cat. That's it. You pet that cat until you've calmed down, mister. I can't wait. That's what I'm going to be. Right? Can you imagine? By the way, I'm just going to turn this really quick. Look at Pee-Pee. He's right there. He's right there being a good little boy. And he's like kneading. So calming. So calming. But that's where you start. You start with like taking care of yourselves. It's going to transition into like a thing here. Because it sounds ridiculous, right? But what's the difference of that instead of someone in their 20s at the bar getting mad because they cut someone off to get a drink and then they still have an altercation? You're doing the same shit. It's just now at the line of cheese at the Costco store and you still haven't gotten it together. It's the same thing. It means you haven't changed, and you haven't grown, and you haven't let things go. You got to let things go. Does it really fucking matter? The samples are going to come out. They're still going to come out. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to me. Letting things go is like super tough because, but it shouldn't be, but it's something that like everyone needs to master because does it matter? Because, we're going to get into quantum physics really quick here. There's only so much energy on this planet, right? So like your remote in the air that goes to your TV is on some kind of energetic plane. We don't know what it is. We can't see it. No one's been able to see it, but we know it's there because it works. That's how your radio works. It's literally these invisible airwaves are in the sky, allowing our phones and all that shit to be transmuted. We just accept it. There's no proof. Like, we can't see it. It's just, we just know it works. They've also discovered that there's only a certain amount of energy in the air. There's only a certain amount that you have. You can't get more and you can't ever have less, right? Like, you can't run out. There's just only so many outlets. So you put that into your everyday life too. You yourself emit energy. They've been studies on this. There's this great documentary called I Am, and it's about this director. He directed stuff with Jim Carrey. He did like Ace Ventura and like all this kind of shit. And he goes on this quest to figure this out. And they hook him up to like this yogurt dish. Like, it's like just like a little petri dish, and they just put yogurt in it because they're proving that everything emits energy. And by the way, you learn this in fucking high school. Like, I remember learning this in high school, and how like everything is made up of atoms and has energy. Like, even these solid things, right? There's actually, it's not, we call it a solid because of how we see it, but if you break it down, it's actually just made up of a bunch of different small things that you can take together, and it created this. But really, like, it emits this energy, okay? Like, it's a bunch of little things going really fast together. That is science. That's not me being like, the universe, blah, blah, blah. No, that's science, okay? So, this guy, he put this electronode into this yogurt, and then he connected it to himself. And while he was like talking, right, suddenly he gets this call from his agent. And you look down at the electrodes, and you see the yogurt, and suddenly it's moving, like shaking really fast back and forth. And he's like, oh my God. And the guy was like, what happened? What'd you think? He's like, my agent called me, and I get really stressed when my agent calls me. You know, when like you get like a little bit of anxiety, like, by the way, I believe email anxiety is real. When I have too much, like, I get like this little thing, and it shows how it emits, his anxiety affected something else and caused it to move. Like, they transmitted those energies that like are the same energy that allows your TV to turn on with your remote. You yourself emit the same energy. It's quantum physics. It's actually real. This isn't like, use your mind to no, you guys, it's real shit, and it's a fascinating documentary. I really liked it. It just showed it and demonstrated things really well to me, the use of quantum physics. And then it goes into like deeper, like meaningful shit, like, why are we here, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not into that, I really recommend that documentary just because it breaks that down and shows you physically how, while you're feeling, affects other environment around you. Okay? Affects other solids or whatever. So you only have so much energy every day. You are made of only so much energy. You have, let's just put it into this kind of, I don't even know why I'm going off on this sick, but let's get into it. Like, this is a weird 9 Lives podcast. We're going to dive deep into shit. And the whole time, Pee-Pee is going to be rapey, save me, cleaning himself like a good little boy. I got him groomed, and it helps a lot that his fur is a lot smaller. He can now like get into the toes, and like, man, it was a journey getting to the bottom of the skin before, and now it's a lot easier. I think he's really happy about it. His cleaning time has been cut down by like 2/3. But anyways, you're only given so much energy every day. And you thinking about things or focusing in on men cutting you off in line or of all that shit is part of your energy going to that. So what do I mean? You gotta make breakfast. You gotta deal with your kids. You gotta get up. You gotta go to school. You have to deal with your boyfriend. And I say deal, but you have to engage in that. You gotta put time into your work. You gotta put time into your creative thing, blah, blah, blah. And so if you have that every day, how much of it are you spending on stupid bullshit? Because then guess what? That takes away from your creative process. That then takes away to the things that matter to you, your kids, your fucking relationship, your cats, if you want to get into that, right? All those things are being second tier to what you're now focusing on. You're now focusing on the guy that fucking cut you off. And now you just cannot help yourself. You got to go follow him to the next sample and say something else. And then that guy is like, oh yeah, motherfucker, I'm going to hit you. And then suddenly you're in this energy. You're like using up this energy and focusing on this shit instead of letting it go and just getting your list done so you can go back to doing shit that really matters. Does it matter that some guy cut you off at Costco for cheese? It doesn't. On some level, you're like, well, what kind of cheese is it? What kind of cheese is it, though? Is it brie? I mean, I respect and understand that. I understand that. But the thing is like, when you suddenly are taking off focus and you focus on that other shit, you're tired. Now you go home and you keep replaying that shit in your head. Now you go home and you're like, man, oh man, let me tell you this story. Now you're in this world. Now your whole day's fucking shot. And let me tell you why I'm talking about this. This goes to relationship bullshit. This goes to like, oh man, why did someone not put the toilet seat down? And then you're like thinking about it. Or why didn't that guy not text me back? What's he doing? Where's he at? Why is his notifications turned off? Did he turn his phone off? Why did he do that? You start to go in these spirals, and like a lot of, and I've been victimized. Not victimized. I've put myself in that situation so many times. And why I'm talking about this is because what we want to try and do is to eliminate that bullshit so you can focus on your best self to get out of that other crap that people are always going to be throwing at you. It's never going to stop at the Costco line. There is always some motherfucker that's going to cut in front of you and take that cheese. But if you don't stop thinking that there's never going to be enough, you're always going to be thinking that someone scammed you, someone stole something from you, someone took something from you, someone did something to you, and that's bullshit. There's always enough. There's always going to be another sample coming out. Just wait a minute. Just wait a fucking minute, man. There's more cheese. This is Costco. Look around. You're at Costco. They got a lot, okay? It's literally the store of bulk. No one's going to take anything from you unless you think that shit. And so what? Fucking take it. Take that shit. I'll just do it again. I'll just make another one. Sometimes I hear that, like, you know, when like people like steal jokes or like take ideas or like blah, 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 blah. Like I hear that all the time or it's been, and I just, you know what I always think? I'm like, yeah, go for it. Take my joke. I'm like, you know what? Because I'll just come up with a fucking another one. I'll just come up with something else that's fire because I have a shit ton of them. I'll just wait for the next round because it's definitely plenty. And you got to let those motherfuckers go, man. It comes like that in relationships too. Like if you're ever with someone, I'll kind of like get into like my own, one of my examples of my relationships is I had a guy that cheated several times. We lived together. He like wanted, like, here's the thing. Let me get into manipulation. Manipulation is real. You're not a bad person for staying with your relationship. You're not a bad person for being in a relationship that's unhealthy. You're not bad. It's just unhealthy. And sometimes it takes a lot for us to really figure out what the fuck's going on so that you can get inside yourself and say no more. Like a lot of times these people come into your lives and you think they steal things from you. They steal your self-worth. They steal your confidence. They steal your value. Like that's the thing that they stole your time. We get into this thing like that person stole a bunch of my bullshit and they were just fucking around the whole time and they were saying one thing to me and then let it up, right? All these things. And the thing is, it's like I had to change my vocabulary about that. I had to start going, you know what? They're not stealing anything from me. They're allowing me to step up into my best self and to say no more. They're allowing me to come forward, say what I need to say, and not waste any of my time. A lot of times, like, here's the thing. I didn't say that very well. A lot of times we like are in these relationships and we become victims, which, by the way, is totally valid. Like, a lot of times we're fucking victims. Like, we didn't provoke these people, blah, 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 blah. But if you want to start thinking about the higher perspective of this, so you don't think that you're just going to be hopeless forever, you got to start flipping the switch on how you talk and react to things. That person came into your life to get to activate you, how fucking strong you are. I always say that. Anytime fucking bullshit comes to my life, I go, I must be a really fucking strong human being if this shit came into my life right now. Wow, I must be really fucking powerful in order to handle this, because I've just been given with a bunch of shit and I could go kill myself and I could go down this rabbit hole, but instead I'm going to face it. I'm going to get the help that I need. I'm going to get the tools that I need in order to step up and handle this shit like a boss. How do you handle shit like a boss? You look it dead in the eye. You acknowledge how fucked up it is. And then you come up with a plan to move forward. How do you move forward when you're emotionally fucked? You go to therapy. You listen to podcasts that are helpful. You start reading books that are empowering to you, to give you tools to communicate better. I remember when I found out like my boyfriend was cheating on me several times, and that basically our whole relationship, he was like a different human, like it was a double life, almost the entire relationship. And I was with this man for 3 years, and I think it didn't really start till like 6 months in, but I didn't know. There were little signs, but I just swept it on the rug, like, you're crazy, you're stupid. He would say I'm kind of stupid. I wouldn't like call him out. I'd be like, hey, this is kind of weird. He'd be like, oh God, or something, right? Like, he'd be like, oh God, like, no. And I'd be like, oh, okay, just wanted to know. I thought I was kind of communicating, but the thing is I wasn't communicating as directly. And also, I'm a very trusting person, so I hate accusing people of shit. By the way, that's also a big key, is like, if you're in a new relationship and your past relationships were cheaters and all this kind of stuff, we definitely bring that little baggage into the next relationship and start taking out the socks first. You know, we start to take out the pants, and then we start to take out the shoes with the little pointy end so we could stab him in the eye. Like, you start to unpack your shit, right? But it's not necessarily always the new person's fault. But so people develop like PTSDs and stuff like that. So how do you not go off on somebody who hasn't even done anything yet? How do you not get triggered and like yell at them? And it's a process. You have to know that, like, a lot of times when you come into new relationships, it also helps you heal. Like, the best way to heal old relationships is being in a new relationship. Obviously, I think you got to have a good relationship with yourself, but being in a relationship with someone else mirrors a lot of things more quickly, and you're able to look at things a lot better. But you have to constantly check yourself. You can't be like, you son of a bitch, blah, 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 fuck you, da, 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 I know this shit, I've been at, like, no, stop. Whew, it's really hard not to go off, because I got really good at it. I fucking write monologues for a living. You should see me channel a good fucking monologue putting a man in his place. I got really fucking good at it. I'm still actually really good at it when it's necessary. But sometimes we can't just like point the finger. You got to go, it's about harnessing that energy, that like motherfucker, It's harnessing that energy and bringing it in so solid, and then being able to deliver it in a precision execution way to get to that core, and so they can't call you crazy. We don't want anyone being called crazy anymore. This is why women get called crazy all the time, is because men do all these things. I hate to say all men because it's not true. It's not true. But there are a lot of times men don't know how to communicate. And so they do all these things passive aggressively. And then women say shit, call it out. But we have let things slide so much that now it's just about to be a fucking volcano exploding out the top. And we've had it. We can't take it anymore. So then we learn to just bash and just explode. And that doesn't fucking help. Sometimes like anger is good because it needs to explode out of you to get to another place, right? Like sometimes when you get angry, shit starts moving, which is really good. But it's never good to stay in anger because once you stay in anger, you fucking lost the war, you know? Anger is a great little battle, like a little point, like a little good spurt to start with because it like gets you to the point. Fucking cuts out the bullshit and gets you to the point. But you can still be angry by just, listen to me. Okay, this is how you still be angry. Hey, I saw this. This is how you still be angry. Let's say I just found a text message from my boyfriend's side hoe, okay? Just boyfriend's side chick, right? Hey, I saw this in your phone. It says A, B, C, and D. All I want to do is explode right now. Like, because it's happened to me before, so I'm just like even thinking about it. But what you got to do is get calm. Because almost when a woman is calm, it's almost even more terrifying than when someone goes off. Because when you go off, you look crazy and then you look like what they did was okay. Because you're just psycho anyways. So you got to stay calm. You're like the middle of the storm, right? You're still in a goddamn storm. Doesn't mean you're not powerful and you're not deadly. But you're the eye of the storm, motherfucker. You know what I mean? So you stay calm and you go, I see this shit. This isn't happening. Do you want to move forward? If not, like for me, I'm like, who is this person? What's going on? If not, I need you to get your shit out. I need you to pack up and there's no more discussion. Like for me, like now when someone cheats, I'm done. Like with my ex, like what happened was like, I was like, oh, maybe I did something wrong. We can work on it. And it was all bullshit. So now for me, like I have to be the only one. You can't, I need all your eyes on me at all times. Like I know myself in a relationship, right? I don't want to control anyone. Fuck that. I don't want to be insecure around anyone either. So like you can't allow your mind to go to that energy. You can't waste your time and energy on being psycho. You got to be precise so you can move to the next shit. So you got to get angry, but it's got to be precise. It's saying shit like, you have to say when things aren't acceptable. This isn't unacceptable. You need to fix this. If you don't want to fix it, we don't need to no longer be forward. If you do want to fix it, you need to come up with a fucking game plan and I will sit here and listen, but I'm not fixing this. I didn't do anything wrong. You did this, right? If I'm not communicating well, or if there's other things that are underlying in this marriage or this relationship, then we need to go and fix that as well. And we can fix it at this time. But you cheating didn't help anything at all. And now we just have broken trust, which guess what? Is a broken foundation. So if you want to fix this foundation, I'm all for it, but you got to step up and start and fucking do it. I can't glue the cracks back together. We got to pave a whole new foundation, motherfucker. And that is not me slashing tires. That is not me calling someone, hitting their insecurity points like, you fat fuck, or something like that, right? That doesn't fucking help. People who do that are people who don't know how to communicate their anger. That is what's going on. They don't know how to communicate their anger, so they lash out in these undestructive ways because they don't know how to get precise about what their feelings are and what needs to happen. You got to communicate. This is fucked up. Why is it fucked up that you cheated on me or whatever? It makes me feel self-worth. It makes me feel like you don't care. It makes me feel unvalued. And it makes me feel like I wasted my time. But people don't say that. People don't say that. They say, you motherfucker, you fucking suck, da da da. And then they go to where it hurts them because they were hurt. And the thing is, you got to cut the cycle. The cycle of being cut is when you no longer attack other people for being fucked up. You let them be fucked up and you continue to move forward in a healthy way. And it's really hard. It's one of the hardest things you will ever learn to do, but you have to do it or else you're going to be 72 years old looking like a goddamn fucking idiot slapping somebody in the fucking cheese line at Costco. And let me tell you, that's the tip of the iceberg. That's the fucking tip of the iceberg. That's not even the real issue. We know that that's not the real issue of that person. That's on top of all the layers and layers of unexpressed anger or undirected or unhealthfully directed anger that they don't know how to deal. So now it comes out fucking there. And it's embarrassing and it's newsworthy. That's why you have to learn how to deal with anger. And, you know, when I went to, I go to like this therapist / energy worker / like acupuncturist. And one of the things that she told me was she was like, you have a really bad relationship with anger. And I was like, oh my God, I do? I immediately was like, I do? Oh my God. Like, you know, she was like, yeah. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, what do you mean? What do I got to do? She's like, you don't have one. You don't have a relationship with anger. So instead, like for me, like I would shut down a lot. Like if something happened, I would like shut down and just like feel defeated and blah, blah, blah. My brother, who I love to death, would just yell. They just yell. They don't know how to deal with it. So they're just yelling. That also isn't helpful, right? It's got to be harnessed, not controlled. It's like harnessed and like, I guess it's like harnessed and controlled powerfully because you don't want to control it like manipulative. You want to control it and use it in a powerful way to get your motherfucking point across. Because if you're crossed again, it's over. Or it's already over and you need to like move out and you stay with that. And it's hard to do, man. I look at these gentlemen and I don't think they're sad. I mean, I kind of do. I kind of think they're sad, but I also think like, of course they don't know this. First of all, our whole entire fucking society doesn't allow men to have feelings. So instead, they just get angry and don't know how to direct their anger. Instead of like saying like, I'm angry because I feel hurt. I'm angry because that's all weak and shit. So like these men, of course you have 70-year-old babies, children. Because in society, if someone like speaks from their heart or is more sensitive or is angry, but saying it in a helpful way rather than just fucking battling it out, then you're a pussy or you're weak. And it's like, I'm not saying that every man needs to go and only be crying like women. Like, no. Like, you don't have to do that, but you got to learn to know what feelings are and understand it's okay to have them. A lot of times a lot of men have been told to stuff their feelings down, not cry, suck it up, blah, 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 shake it off, don't worry about it, da, 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 da. You've been told that at a really young age. So I see men like that and I'm like, well, like it annoys me. I'm like, oh God, it's so fucking annoying. And then also, I'm like, well, of course. What else do they know? It's the same with women. For so long, we've been told to, you're emotional. You can't handle anything. That's a big one. You're too emotional because you can't handle it. And You shouldn't be given any responsibility. Your emotions affect you negative. Like, everyone thinks emotions are negative, but they're there to guide you. They're there as communication tools that something else is going on. And you got to fucking learn how to communicate that. Or again, the police are going to be looking for you after a Costco trip. It's not good. It's not good. Kind of went down a rabbit hole, didn't we? It's necessary. It's necessary to talk about this shit. I don't know if women, I don't know. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I don't listen to that many. And I have no idea if like women are talking about that, but it's definitely why I love cats so much, is because even when I am in, because guess what? We all have some kind of trauma. It's all coming from some kind of past behavior or PTSD of some shit. And what I love about cats is that they'll fucking get in your face and like want to like come and cuddle you or talk to you, like calm you down for a minute, and it gets you out of your head and allows you to look at things from a higher perspective sometimes. That's why I was like, that dude needs a fucking cat. Needs to calm down, get out of his head, and just chill for a minute. How do I be better? How do I get better? How do I get better? For your kids, for your own family that couldn't do it. No one's going to do it for you. Your family's not going to do it for you. You're going to have to do it for yourself. No one's going to do this work. And it's the hardest work. The hardest work is figuring out your own shit and being able to communicate your emotions effectively, to allow your emotions to come out, but not wallow. And to also allow other people to have emotions and not make them wrong, because it all comes from somewhere. So how do you set healthy boundaries and at the same time help people? And then when do you know when to walk away and at the same time just help yourself? And it all starts with just understanding. It starts with like, what happens? What do you do with anger? What do you do? What's your MO? What do you do? Get a kitty, please. I love cats so much. Like, I love them so much because, like, I remember, my dad wasn't around. A quick story about that. They got divorced. My mom and dad, he was cheating on her several times. Didn't want to get divorced. My mom finally had it. Stood up for herself. He got together with the last woman, got her pregnant, got married, all with like in a year, and changed religions, and then eventually moved out of state and like he abandoned, like, left my brother and I for his other family. If you've had that kind of situation where like you kind of see him around Christmas and they're like, yeah, I'm still a dad. I see you at Christmas and stuff. And I like do think like I'm a dad. I have a real job. It wasn't like he was like this. Sometimes I used to wish my dad was an alcoholic or like some kind of drug abuser, so I could say that's why he wasn't around. But instead, he just was with another family and didn't want to be with my brother and I anymore, is how I interpret it. I look back now and I know that he didn't know how to communicate his shit. He didn't know how to communicate his embarrassment and his anger at himself. He didn't know how to take responsibility instead of blaming everyone else. He didn't know how to communicate feelings. He had no idea. And to this day, even my half brother would be like, yeah, he just shuts down and can't even look people in the eye. And I was like, yeah, because he did that. And it started with my mom and all that bullshit. He used to be such an outgoing guy, but when you have so much guilt with yourself, you shut down, can't look anybody, and you go away and you don't deal with it. So guess what happens? You fucking lose a daughter. I mean, it gets to that point where you lose people because you don't know how to deal with your emotions. No one wants to be around you because they don't understand you because you're not communicating. And at the very end of my dad died 2 years ago unexpectedly on his property from like this weird accident. And like a couple months before he died, I like did the video of like an hour and a half of me just being like, Dad, you did this. You did this. You left. Every year I see you and you act like it's totally fine and it's bullshit. You try to sweep everything under the rug and you're not even a dad. I can't swear around you. I can't even be myself around you or else you're not going to call me for a year. You're going to hurt. There's a lot of things I can go into another time. But I called him out on his shit and I was like, I'm doing this because I want a real, authentic relationship with you. That's what I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to make you feel bad, make you feel guilty, to make you feel like a piece of shit, to blame you for everything. I'm doing this because I need you to take ownership of what fucking happened, because at the end of the day, you were the parent, I'm the kid. So what I need from you is to just say you're sorry. And then I need to be able to be myself, and then for you to be yourself. So if you're like this religious person, I'm going to let you be that religious person. But if I'm a liberal, LGBTQ supporter, then you need to let me be that. If we can't talk about it because it affects you too much, then we can set those boundaries. But I need to be myself and can't walk on eggshells around you because I feel like you're going to leave every second because I'm not the perfect human being. And he didn't talk to me 2 months, and I thought he wasn't going to be my dad anymore. I was done. I was like, I don't want this bullshit dad in my life. I can't imagine you walking me down the aisle, because someone walking me down the aisle means that you took care of me and looked after me and loved me into this beautiful human being, and now you get to give me away. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened. I had to figure out shit for myself, which in the end, if I'm going to look at a higher perspective, it's always, I became a lot fucking smart. I became a lot more intelligent and able to deal with life a lot better because I was abandoned. That's a lot. That a lot of people would flip the script, right? I'm a victim because you blah, blah, blah. And it was like, you know what? I got into a lot of unhealthy relationships, but every fucking unhealthy relationships, I got to be better and stronger on my own. I didn't fucking need you around. I figured this shit out for myself. I came to you, Dad, to fix this shit that you could never do. I'm that motherfucking strong. And guess what? Your parents are at the core of who you are, the very beginning of who you are. If you are a woman with a dad and you're straight or whatever, that's your first love. Same with your mom if you're a son to your mother, it's your first love. You fall in love with them first. So you start the pattern of conditioning of what love is there. And I knew love is abandonment, cheating, ignoring, leaving, not really into you, but showing up every once in a while with a smiley face. That's what I knew was love. And that's what I kept getting into, was this bullshit. And I knew that I had to fucking change the game inside me, and I had to go to the core of it. So I went to my dad. It's so hard, man. It's so fucking hard. If you're doing with your own family, it's so fucking hard. It's not easy. But I came to him, and during that hour-and-a-half video, I also made a point to say this. Dad, I know how hard it is to listen to this, and if you're still listening to this video, I appreciate it. Because it means you're open and you want to, on some level, you want to fix this shit too. So thank you. I would say that throughout the whole hour-and-a-half video. I was like, hey, if you're still here, appreciate it. It's like balls in your court. You got to come to me and apologize. I can't take responsibility for your emotional bullshit anymore. It wasn't my job. It was your job to figure it out. It's not my job to figure you out. It's your job to figure you out. It's your job to make healthy decisions in life. It's not my job to make sure you make healthy decisions for me. Let me make it so much easier for you by going out of my way and making sure that you feel okay. I'm a fucking kid. To the day I die, I will always be your parents' kid. You'll always be that. So you go to the core of it, and he didn't call me for 2 months, and I thought it was over. And I was actually ready. It was really sad. There's always a grieving process, but I was fucking done because it was bullshit. I wasn't gaining any healthy support from him ever. So I was ready to fucking cut it out. And then I swear to God, it was miraculous. It was a fucking if you guys knew my dad, you would think he would never speak to me again. He couldn't do it. Like the fact that he even called me and said all this shit and apologized, and then we made a plan every Sunday. We're talking and you're calling me dad. I'm not calling you. I'm not trying to figure out what your schedule is. I'm not trying to figure out what's going on with you. I'm not trying to you're calling me on a set schedule to make time for your daughter. That's what happened. If you were to tell me that 5 years ago, I'd be like, no, it's not happening. I know my dad, that's not happening. But it's funny because when you change shit in you, it helps other people step up to themselves. There's all this thing about like people like raising their vibration. They're like, I'm on this level and they're blah, blah, blah. Fuck that. I hate that thing. What you do is you set boundaries and lay down the law for yourself, so you allow other people to step up to themselves, not to your level, to step up to their own level that they should have already been operating at. So when you do that, you help others. Even when people fall away, I help my dad. And guess what? He died 3 months later. Do you know how crazy that is? So many people don't get closure in their lives. So many people go on in the same bullshit communicative pattern that they have, and they never say anything because it's so awkward and it's hard. And actually, I get why they don't. I come from a long life just throwing it under the rug and pretending it doesn't exist. So I fucking understand why you don't say it. But then people die out of nowhere for no reason. And when my dad died, I was so sad, but I was also so fucking bittersweet and thankful that we were able to heal. I can't even tell you. It was the hardest thing I had ever done, and it was the most rewarding thing I've ever done because I couldn't even tell you what was going to happen. Thank God I stepped up. So crazy. That's why I always it's so interesting that we're talking about this, because I want you, the cat cult, to start always not setting your boundaries, but just setting your boundaries, but speaking your truth in a loving way. I love you. I know why you're fucked up, dad, mom, right? I see why. I know the pattern. Still need you to step up now. You can't blame your whole life. Well, I did this because of that. I don't care. You still now have to change. When are you going to stop looking backwards and start looking forwards? You got to look forward and be like, well, what's the new way to communicate? Because obviously all that bullshit back there wasn't working. So now I can't blame anything back there. I have to look at it, release it, and then step into the new way of being for everyone else, for your family, for your own friends, for your own work relationships. Because guess what? If you can handle your fucking parents, if you can fucking handle your family, then you can have really good business. Then you can have really good personal relationships. Because how many people do we know that own businesses and are fucking asshole bosses? Just because you have a business doesn't mean you have your shit together. But you want a business and you want people excited to work with you. And it all stems from that shit at this beginning. People need to know that. And the cat cult, that's what this 9 lives is, right? Like, you might have been knocked down 6 times, but there's a 7th time coming, motherfucker. There's a 7th time for you to get up, reassess. What else do you need to do in order to move forward? What do you got to change? How do you have to communicate differently? How do you have to make sure other people are hearing you correctly? And how do you need to let go if someone just can't change? Because that happens. Some people just can't do it. They cannot do it. And you got to be at peace with it and realize that it's really hard to do. And society has never let men do this before. We're like coming into this era where it's becoming super normal for men to speak their feelings and all that kind of shit. Oh, man. Well, I think that's a wrap up. Thank you so much This has been the 9 Lives podcast. I don't know where did we go? What happened? Where am I? What dimension am I in? I'm here. I don't know what's going on. Thank you so much. And let me know your thoughts. I mean, like, I hope this is helpful. I don't know. Share the podcast. Share. You got it's up to you guys to like share. I can only yell so much. Let me know if you like it or comment below. Like, tell me your things that you were working on. I love understanding how other people work and what they're doing and like a perspective from that. I love you guys so much and thank you for listening. If you guys listen to this, God, I fucking love you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
Pee.